Hi everyone, it's Monday afternoon and I just wanted to do a video a little bit differently than I've done now because there have been a series of videos that were put out by a man who's doing a juice feast called Pawn Hand and then some response, and I actually found his channel by watching a response that my road home had made to a video series that Pawn Hand did, and I hope that you guys will appreciate that this is such an interesting question to me, or such an interesting question has been raised, that I felt I wanted to give my thoughts on the matter. The question seems to me to be, what is the best diet for the human species living on the earth today? And I just want to say to start that, Pawn Hand, I totally admire and respect the fact that you are approaching 100 days of juice feasting, and I give you my total support in going forward. I think that you, more than anyone, knows exactly what your body needs and wants, and that you will follow your path until its natural conclusion. And perhaps it will be on the day that you die and you turn to your family and loved ones and say, I lived a good life and I think it was the juice that did it. And if that turns out to be the case for you, then excellent, and way to go for you. Certainly I think we all have free will when we're making decisions about what to put in our mouth and how to nourish ourselves. And so I lend you my support as long as you need it. I understand too, though, the other points of view that have been raised, because they're all very good and critical points for us to consider, I think, when we're considering what the human diet should be at its best. For me, when I've given that topic and that question some thought, I have, in my mind, try to think about the fact that humans are another species of animals living on this planet. And we are as much in the place we are today as a result of evolution as any other animal living on the planet is. And we know that there has been evolution. We are no longer creeping around on all fours. And we have things like McDonald's hamburgers and food lots where thousands of pigs and cows and stuff can be raised in a very small area. And we have certainly evolved from the days when human beings would have had to go out and search for perhaps some meat that they could scavenge, or if they could find a way to bring down an animal, that sort of thing, and eat it, or forage for herbs and plant food that was edible, that sort of thing. We certainly have evolved much beyond that. But anytime I believe there's a conversation about evolution, there are two factors that we need to not forget. And the first is adaptation, and the second is natural selection. Again, evolution, the whole concept of evolution, may be offensive to some people, and certainly I don't mean to make this an issue of faith and belief systems versus the theory of evolution. I believe that there is a place for God and a concept of God in evolution, but that will be a topic for another video if anyone wants my thoughts on that issue. So taking away the aspect of faith, if we just look at ourselves as animals on this planet, we can look at what our nature is as animals on this planet. And a very good point was raised in one of the early videos that Pawn Hand did, and that was an analogy that was made to babies and the fact that babies only consume liquids, and so is it not possible for adults to do the same thing? Well, when I thought about that, something came to my mind, and I'll share it. It would be very evolutionarily disadvantageous for us to continue to nourish ourselves with what is probably the most nutritious form of food for a human infant, and that is mother's milk. It is definitely the most nutritious thing that we can consume, but at the same time, it would be evolutionarily disadvantageous for us to continue to consume that beyond a certain point, because our mothers generally die before we do. And so if we adapted to only eating mother's milk, or only consuming mother's milk, then our food supply would run out. And instead, and because evolution is really in place to ensure our survival as a species, so to my mind, instead, what I have felt and have seen has happened over the millennia is that we have adapted in such a way so that at a certain point in time we can go on to consume food that is provided to us by our other mother, not our human mother, but by our earth mother. And the food that is most beneficial to my mind for the human being, or for human beings like me and like you guys watching, is food that comes from Mother Earth. And I believe that's why we have two sets of teeth. Initially we're not eating, we tend to move away from mother's milk into soft and some pre-digested foods, that sort of things that maybe have been chewed up or squished up for us, that sort of stuff. And, I can see that there's this natural system in place to ensure that we are nourished as human beings, and that is our mother, our human mother, and our earth mother. So I do believe it's possible to sustain ourselves and get adequate nutrition, minerals, vitamins, enzymes, that sort of thing, by only juicing. I honestly believe that's true. I believe that if we are hydrated and vitaminized and mineralized and have all of the enzymes that we need so that our bodies function properly, that a person could indeed live like that. The question that comes to my mind is that natural? And I say that because 1,000 years ago our human brothers and sisters didn't have juicers. And, we weren't able to juice our way through our lives. I think it's possible, and again, Pawn Hand, you have my support as you go through your journey and find out what place this feast that you're doing will take you to. I think it's totally possible, but I do think that it's a little bit unnatural, that before the time where you could actually take all of the produce that you're consuming and juice it, that you would have been obliged, because of your human body, to eat food from our Mother Earth in the form that she made it for us. So I think that it's a really interesting question, and that it can go two ways. The other question, of course, is it sustainable? And I think with your juicer, it's quite possible that you could go anywhere in the world and continue to juice, and as I said, probably live a very fulfilling and satisfying, healthy life, just living on juice. So go for it if that's what you want. But I think for most of us, that would not be sustainable. That for most people living on the planet today, having a juicer, having the ability to eat that way, or only juice, is not sustainable, and so would not then sort of be naturally selected, if you understand what I'm saying. Because one day the time may come where we have so changed the earth as we know it that maybe we won't have juicers, and again our human form, our animal form, is going to have to go back to its most basic and primary source of nutrition, and that is Mother Earth. I'm not sure how much time I have here. There were a number of other things that I wanted to say, but I guess I just want to say to you that, Pawn Hand, follow your path and see where it takes you. Our greatest urge and instinct in life is to survive, and I believe that if you reach a point where you feel you're not surviving and thriving in the way that you want to, you will stop. I believe that you're probably nourished enough at this point in time with the many years on the path you've been, that your head is together enough and your intellect is together enough to see that if you become ill or unwell, that it may be your body calling for something you're not giving it. But I haven't watched all of your videos, and so I don't know how your path has been. But I just want you to know that again, keep doing what you're doing. All of us have a point of view, and it's all relevant. And certainly what I've watched people do has been an amazing thing, and that, as My Road Home said, we are all on the same path, and that is in an effort to try and find the best way to nourish ourselves so that we can be the best humans that we can be. But anyways, yeah, so I'll just stop it there. I wanted to talk a little bit more about my thoughts on evolution and how we've adapted as animals to being able to consume an incredibly unhealthy diet that's very removed from Mother Earth, but that also is not a sustainable way of nourishing ourselves. So I think what I'm trying to say is that we don't necessarily have the answers, and that I will be interested to watch as you continue your journey, and I'm going to continue my journey, and I hope everyone, all of us out there, will continue theirs as well, and we'll see where we all get to. Hopefully we're all going to be holding hands with love at some point, and to me that's the point. Have a great day, everyone.